Imagine for a moment you're amidst the vibrant activity of ancient Athens or at the core of the Roman Empire. Life bustles around you, people chasing fleeting pleasures, elusive riches, and consuming routines. Yet, in a quiet corner, a small group of individuals pauses, takes a deep breath, and confronts life head-on. These are the Stoics. They seek no excuses, await no miracles, and refuse to be swept away by the current. They grasp that life is brief, time is limited, and every lost day is an opportunity that will never return. Centuries later, we find ourselves ensnared in the same patterns: procrastination, complaints, and waiting for the perfect moment to initiate change. But the harsh truth is, that moment never arrives unless you create it. The Stoics recognize this. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, all agreed on one fundamental principle. Transformation begins by compelling yourself to work on yourself, even when you lack the desire, even when no one applauds. Because if you don't steer your own destiny, you'll become a captive of your impulses, fears, and mediocrity. This video isn't for those seeking shortcuts or magical solutions. It's for those weary of merely existing and ready to embrace a life of purpose, discipline, and an unyielding mindset. Here you'll uncover how to command your time, forge robust habits, fortify your mind for adversity, and transform discipline into your most potent ally. Each piece of advice draws inspiration from Stoicism, a philosophy that has not only endured through the ages, but is more vital today than ever. Don't deceive yourself, no one is coming to rescue you. If you desire tranquility, begin with self-control. If you crave freedom, start with responsibility. If you seek results, commence with discipline. There's no room for excuses here, only for action. So if you're truly prepared to cease being a spectator and become the protagonist of your narrative, remain until the very end. Every second counts, and the final piece of advice might be the one that alters your life forever. Now, before embarking on this journey of transformation, do something the Stoics emphasize daily. Commit to yourself. In the comments, type, "From today I commit to daily growth, I am Stoic." Do this not just to participate, but to engrave it in your mind and begin living with intent. If this message resonates with you, give it a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. Here we are progressively building genuine character and discipline together. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Seize command of your time. Taking charge of your time isn't merely about organization. It's a declaration of war against a squandered existence. Stoicism teaches that time is our most invaluable asset, surpassing money or any possession, because it's the sole thing that never returns. Seneca plainly stated that most people are meticulous with their finances, but squander time as if they possessed an endless supply. When you realize that every passing minute is a segment of life you won't reclaim, you begin to view your schedule through a different lens. Stoics weren't content to live haphazardly. They understood that relinquishing their day to urgencies and distractions meant surrendering their lives to mediocrity. Therefore, for them, controlling time was equivalent to controlling destiny. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies the principle of living with intention. It's not about cramming your day with tasks, but about consciously choosing what merits your energy. Marcus Aurelius, amidst imperial wars and responsibilities, found space for writing, contemplation, and character development. This wasn't due to an abundance of time, but because he was clear on what was essential. The modern Stoic must learn to differentiate between the urgent and the important, and to decline the superfluous without guilt. Every block of time you allocate to what truly matters is an act of self-respect and allegiance to your purpose. When you safeguard these periods, you become the master of your day, not its servant. The past, present, and future constitute the three domains of time, according to Seneca. The past cannot be altered, but lessons can be drawn from it. The future is uncertain, yet you can prepare for it. The present is the only thing within your grasp, and it's where everything unfolds. Stoics didn't dwell on regrets or anxieties about what was to come. Their focus was on utilizing the present, eradicating distractions, and acting with full awareness. To progress, you must be present in every action, for it is in the present that you sow the seeds of tomorrow's harvest. Each time you choose to be here and now, you are applying Stoicism in its purest form. Procrastination is the silent poison Stoics combated with discipline. They didn't wait for motivation to strike or for the perfect moment to arrive. They knew that postponing meant robbing life from their own aspirations. Thus, immediate action, no matter how small, was their antidote. If an important task awaits, tackle it before doubt and inertia take hold. Divide your work into manageable segments and allow yourself breaks only after making progress. This discipline not only enhances your productivity, but also fortifies your character. Every time you opt for action over delay, you evolve into a stronger, more dependable individual, someone who can rely on themselves. Conscious rest is also a component of time management for Stoics. It's not about existing in a perpetual state of exhaustion, but about understanding that rest is a strategy, not a reward. Rest only when you've earned it, when your effort has been genuine and your advancement tangible. In this way, the pleasure of rest is magnified because you know it's not an escape but a rejuvenation. Stoicism invites you to view your day as a battlefield where every minute counts. If you desire a meaningful life, you must contend for your time, shield it from distractions, and utilize it to forge your best self. Only then, upon reflection, will you feel pride in each day lived. Cultivate yourself more than your career. In contemporary life, most individuals devote the majority of their time and energy to fulfilling professional demands. They rise early, adhere to schedules, endure daily pressures, and often work overtime, all to sustain the stability an occupation provides. However, few pause to consider how much of that effort they genuinely invest in themselves. The Stoics had a clear understanding. The true work, the kind that perpetually yields dividends, is the inner work we undertake. It's not solely about meeting external obligations, but about personal growth, character strengthening, intellectual expansion, and virtue cultivation. Stoicism teaches that personal development is the only investment that never depreciates. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic thinker, emphasized that we cannot control external events, but we can manage our responses to every situation. Hence, the Stoic sage dedicates time to self-knowledge, identifying weaknesses and transforming them into strengths. They are not content with what they know, constantly seeking further learning, deeper self-understanding, and preparedness for life's inevitable challenges. Personal growth is not a luxury. It's a necessity if you seek freedom, options, and independence from others' decisions. Working on oneself entails venturing beyond one's comfort zone. It signifies having the courage to turn off the television to read a book, to awaken earlier for meditation, or to dedicate time to acquiring a new skill, even if it doesn't seem urgent at the moment. Stoics understood that knowledge is a seed that blossoms over time, and that every small daily effort accumulates, even if immediate results aren't apparent. This isn't selfishness, but self-responsibility. If you don't build from within, if you don't cultivate your mind and character, you'll stagnate, trapped in routine, and lacking the genuine capacity to transform your life. The environment often doesn't facilitate this. We are surrounded by those who settle, who do only the bare minimum, and who perceive extra effort as an unnecessary sacrifice. But the Stoic recognizes that true value resides in silent work, in the unseen effort that inwardly transforms you. Surrounding yourself with individuals who also seek growth, who inspire and challenge, is crucial to avoid succumbing to mediocrity. Personal growth is infectious, and when you choose to prioritize it, you begin to perceive opportunities where previously you only saw limitations. Your self-esteem flourishes, your vision broadens, and your capacity to contribute value multiplies. Ultimately, employment may offer stability, but only your personal development grants you freedom. When you invest more in yourself than in your job, you prepare for any change, any crisis, any emerging opportunity. The day your employment ends, all that remains is who you've become. If you've undertaken the inner work, if you've invested in your mind and character, there will be nothing to fear. You can begin anew, from anywhere, and construct something even better. This is the true wealth Stoics championed, a life guided by virtue, wisdom, and the perpetual capacity for growth, come what may. Envision the journey, not just the destination. Many in life become fixated on the ultimate outcome, the accomplished goal, success at the summit, the applause at journey's end. Yet the Stoics understood that true transformation doesn't occur in that moment of glory, but throughout the process leading to it. For them, visualization wasn't merely imagining triumphs, but preparing the mind for each step, every setback, every moment of doubt, and every unforeseen obstacle. Visualizing the journey is akin to training the spirit to withstand the storm, not just to bask in the sunshine. It's an understanding that the voyage holds as much significance as the destination, for character is forged along the way. Stoicism teaches that the mind requires direction and clarity. It's insufficient to merely say, "I want to change," or "I want to be better." One must vividly imagine each day of that transformation, how weariness will feel, how frustration will be managed, and how every small victory will be celebrated. Marcus Aurelius, a great emperor and Stoic philosopher, practiced anticipating challenges each morning. He mentally prepared for criticism, betrayal, problems, and temptations, not to live in fear, but to be ready and act virtuously when they arose. Thus, when life presented difficulties, they were no longer a surprise. His mind had already navigated that terrain. Visualizing the journey also implies accepting that there will be days when everything seems to conspire against you, when motivation wanes and fatigue weighs heavier than desire. Stoics didn't deny difficulty. They confronted it directly. They knew that pain, discomfort, and failure are natural components of growth. Therefore, in their daily practice, they envisioned themselves overcoming these moments, rising after falling, and finding solutions amidst chaos. This mental preparation gave them an advantage. When the challenge arrived, they neither froze nor surrendered, because they had already experienced that scenario in their minds and knew they could overcome it. The Stoic practice of visualization isn't merely an imaginative exercise, it's a practical tool for real life. Dedicating a few minutes daily to close your eyes and mentally traverse the path, feeling the emotions, anticipating difficulties, and rehearsing responses strengthens willpower and self-control. It's not magic, it's training. Just as an athlete repeatedly refines a movement, the mind is trained to act with clarity and determination when the moment of truth arrives. Visualization transmutes vague aspirations into concrete plans and prepares the spirit for action. Stoicism reminds us that enduring success isn't a product of chance but of consistent, conscious effort. Visualizing the journey means committing to each step, each endeavor, each daily decision. It's understanding that the summit only has meaning if you've learned to savor and endure the ascent. When the mind is trained for the process, results emerge as a natural consequence. Thus, each day becomes an opportunity to advance, learn, and grow, regardless of how distant the goal may seem. For the Stoic, true triumph lies in the path traveled, not solely at the finish line. Learn from your mistakes and those of others. On the path toward a Stoic-guided life, one of the greatest gifts you can bestow upon yourself is the humility to learn, not only from your own missteps but also from the experiences of others. The Stoics understood that life is a tireless teacher, always ready to impart lessons, but only if you are willing to listen and observe. It's not about living in fear of error, but about transforming every stumble into an opportunity for growth. When an individual falters and rises with a clear lesson, that wound ceases to be a mark of failure and transmutes into a badge of wisdom. Thus, error ceases to be an adversary and becomes a silent ally, one that propels you not to repeat the same pattern and to advance with greater clarity. Stoicism teaches that daily reflection is paramount. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, dedicated time each evening to review his actions, questioning where he had erred and what he could improve. This exercise of brutal honesty wasn't for self-flagellation, but to refine his character and draw closer to virtue each day. Reflecting on your own experiences allows you to anticipate problems, recognize your weaknesses, and fortify them. You don't need to dwell in the past, but you have a responsibility not to ignore it. Every error, every poor decision, every uncomfortable conversation has something to offer if you dare to face it. Stoics didn't seek perfection but constant progress, and they knew that only those who learn from their history can shape a different future. But Stoic wisdom extends beyond personal experience. Learning from others is a sign of intelligence and humility. You don't need to burn yourself every time to know that fire burns. Observing the paths of those who have already navigated similar situations saves you time, pain, and resources. The stories of success and failure that surround you are replete with clues, advice, and warnings. If you possess the humility to inquire, to listen without prejudice, and to analyze with an open mind, you can advance much faster and with fewer stumbles. Stoics valued community, the exchange of ideas, and keen observation of human behavior. They knew that every person is a mirror in which you can see your own possibilities and limitations reflected. It's not just about avoiding pain, but about leveraging it. Suffering without learning is suffering in vain. But when you choose to view your wounds and those of others through the eyes of a learner, everything gains meaning. Stoicism invites you not to waste any experience. Every conversation, every failure, every external success can be a valuable lesson if you remain alert and receptive. Life never ceases to teach you, but it's up to you to stop ignoring those lessons. Make reflection and observation a daily habit, and you will see your path fill with clarity and purpose. Ultimately, the true Stoic is not one who never errs, but one who never ceases to learn. Wisdom is measured not by titles or years, but by the capacity to transform experience into growth. If you convert every error into a lesson and every external story into a guide, you will become stronger, wiser, and better prepared for whatever comes. Thus, each day will be an opportunity to advance, not from perfection, but from continuous improvement. And that is the essence of Stoicism: to learn, adapt, and grow always. Conquer procrastination with action. Procrastination is that stealthy adversary lurking behind every "I'll do it later," every excuse cloaked as perfectionism, every instance where you convince yourself that tomorrow will be a better day to begin. The Stoics, over 2 millennia ago, already warned of this peril. Postponing what you know you must do today is betraying yourself and moving away from the life you truly desire. It's not merely a matter of disorganization or lack of time. It's an internal battle against your emotions, your fears, and your tendency to evade discomfort. Epictetus clearly understood: an untrained mind lives as a puppet of its desires, caught in the snare of instant gratification and indecision. Stoicism teaches that procrastination is, at its core, a problem of emotional management. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy, but because you seek to avoid unease, the fear of failure, or the discomfort of confronting tasks that seem difficult or boring. Stoics didn't await motivation to act. They acted because they understood that every lost day was one less day to build their best selves. Seneca stated that we don't have little time, but rather we waste much, and every time you fall into procrastination, you squander opportunities that won't return. Action, however small, is the antidote to this poison. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to start. One of Stoicism's most potent strategies for overcoming procrastination is clarity of purpose. Marcus Aurelius insisted that when you are clear about why you do something, motivation ceases to be an issue. If your goal is merely a nice phrase, you will abandon it at the first obstacle. But if your purpose is profound, if it connects with your values and life vision, you will rise even when you don't feel like it. Therefore, Stoics proposed journaling, reviewing your objectives each morning, and anticipating potential obstacles. Thus, when the temptation to postpone arises, you will already have a prepared response and won't succumb to the first impulse. Another Stoic tool is minimal action and task fragmentation. The mind often inflates challenges into monsters, but when you divide a task into small steps and commit to doing only the first, resistance dissipates. The 2-minute rule is pure Stoicism. Do something, even if only for a couple of minutes. Once in motion, momentum builds, and what seemed impossible becomes manageable. Stoics also recommended designing your environment to eliminate distractions and reduce unnecessary options, because every extra decision drains your willpower and brings you closer to postponement. Make your environment work for you, not against you. Stoicism encourages practicing voluntary discomfort and remembering the brevity of life. Don't seek the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. Do what you have to do even when you don't feel like it, because that's where character is forged. Every time you choose action over excuse, you strengthen your self-discipline and move closer to the life you envision. Don't punish yourself for procrastinating, but don't allow yourself to remain there either. Observe your emotions, name them, and act anyway. Action repeated day after day is the only real escape from the cycle of procrastination. Thus, little by little, you become that person who takes action, who progresses, who doesn't halt at discomfort, and who builds a life guided by intention and virtue. Embrace financial discipline as your ally. In today's world, where rapid consumption, and the constant pursuit of immediate gratification seemed to be the norm, few paused to ponder the true meaning of freedom. For the Stoics, freedom wasn't dependent on vast wealth, but on self-mastery and control over one's own resources. Financial discipline, viewed through a Stoic lens, is far more than saving out of obligation. It's an act of respect for your future and a demonstration of self-control. It's not about living in fear of spending or depriving yourself of everything, but about understanding that every coin you choose to save or invest is a seed that can provide tranquility and options when life puts you to the test. The modern Stoic comprehends that money is a means, not an end. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men of his time, warned against the peril of relying on luxury and living beyond one's means. True wealth, he asserted, lies not in possessing much, but in needing little. This mindset allows you to liberate yourself from the anxiety spawned by consumerism and grants you the clarity to make intelligent decisions. When you save, you don't merely accumulate money, you also train your character to resist the temptation of immediacy and build something more substantial for tomorrow. Saving thus becomes a tool of personal power, a silent yet potent way of telling life that it won't catch you off guard. Investing, from the Stoic perspective, is a natural extension of this discipline. It's not about seeking rapid enrichment, but about patiently and wisely growing what you possess. The Stoic studies, learns, and researches before deploying their money. They aren't swayed by empty promises or the fear of being left behind. They know that money working for you is money that grants you freedom, allowing you to choose rather than merely survive. Financial independence isn't a distant dream. It's the outcome of small daily decisions, firm habits, and a clear vision of what truly matters. When you invest in what you understand and can manage, you prepare for any unforeseen circumstances and give yourself the opportunity to grow independently of luck. Financial discipline also entails knowing when to say no. In a world that entices you to spend at every turn, the Stoic learns to differentiate between desire and necessity. They don't yield to the impulse for instant gratification because they know that momentary pleasure can become a long-term burden. Every time you choose to save instead of spend, to invest instead of squander, you are fortifying your willpower and building a foundation that will offer peace of mind when others are burdened with worries. This attitude not only benefits you, but also enables you to be generous with others when it truly matters, because you have the means to give without jeopardizing your stability. Financial discipline is a form of self-love and respect for life. It's not about accumulating for accumulation's sake, but about creating the conditions to freely choose your path. Stoicism teaches us that true independence doesn't arrive suddenly, but is built day by day through conscious decisions and with a long-term perspective. When you embrace financial discipline as an ally, you prepare to face any challenge with serenity and confidence, knowing that your future rests in the hands of someone who has learned self-mastery, you. Thus, every saved coin and every well-considered investment become the building blocks of a stronger, freer, and more fulfilling life. Employ delayed gratification as a weapon. Do you desire significant results? Learn to wait. Don't reward yourself before you've achieved your goal. First the action, then the reward. This way you reprogram your mind to resist temptation and strengthen your self-control. Each time you postpone immediate pleasure, you grow stronger and prepare for achievements that most will never reach because they lack patience. In a world bombarding you with instant rewards and easy pleasures, delayed gratification is almost an act of defiance. The Stoics grasped this perfectly. They knew that nothing truly worthwhile is attained immediately. Modern life pushes you towards instant satisfaction, to reward yourself before effort, to fall into the trap of convenience and speed. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. First the action, then the reward. It's not about denying pleasure, but about earning it through discipline and effort. Thus, each time you postpone the reward, you strengthen your self-control and prepare for even greater challenges. Delayed gratification is one of the secret weapons of strong character. When you choose to wait, when you decide not to succumb to the impulse of immediacy, you train your mind to resist temptation and to think long-term. Stoics practice this in every aspect of their lives. They weren't swayed by the desire for quick pleasure, but sought the satisfaction that comes from fulfilling duty, advancing towards their goals, and acting with virtue. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus spoke of the importance of mastering desires, of not being slaves to impulses, because they knew that whoever controls themselves is truly free. Applying delayed gratification in daily life means establishing clear rules with yourself. You don't grant yourself the reward before completing your task. If you need to study, you first study, and then you allow yourself to rest or enjoy something you like. If you want to improve your health, you first train and then you eat something special. This habit, though seemingly small, transforms your relationship with pleasure and effort. You stop viewing work as punishment and pleasure as a right, and you begin to understand that both are part of a cycle you control. Thus, each reward becomes more valuable because you know you've earned it. Delayed gratification also helps you resist social pressure and the frenetic pace of your surroundings. While others seek quick results and become frustrated when they don't achieve them, you learn patience to enjoy the process and to await the opportune moment. This skill gives you a tremendous advantage in any goal you set. Whether it's saving money, learning a new skill, or building a solid relationship, the ability to wait and work without seeing immediate results is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up. The Stoic knows that true success comes to those who know how to wait and work in silence. Repeat until it becomes part of you. There's no magic or secret. What transforms your life is what you repeat daily, even when you don't feel like it. Choose one habit, just one, and repeat it until it becomes a part of you. Consistency triumphs over talent. Repetition turns difficulty into natural ease. Don't seek rapid results, seek robust habits. The one who repeats wins because they never give up. Daily repetition is the silent secret behind every real transformation, and the Stoics understood this better than anyone. It's not about seeking quick results or awaiting miracles, but about understanding that what you do repeatedly, however insignificant it may seem, is what ultimately shapes your character and destiny. Marcus Aurelius penned his thoughts each morning, not to impress others, but to remind himself of the principles he wished to embody. Epictetus insisted that it's not enough to comprehend an idea. One must practice it, return to it, repeat it, until it becomes a natural part of who you are. Thus, repetition transcends mere routine and becomes the foundation of a solid life. In today's world, where everyone craves instant changes, patience and consistency seem like forgotten virtues. But Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in the capacity to persevere, to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when enthusiasm has waned, even when no one applauds. It is on those dreary days, when motivation is conspicuously absent, that character is truly forged. Every time you choose to repeat a positive habit, however small, you are sending a clear message to your mind. You can trust yourself. You are capable of achieving what you set out to do. You are not a slave to your moods. Repetition is also the antidote to self-criticism and doubt. You don't need to do something perfectly. You just need to do it every day. If you fail, you start again. If you fall behind, you regain your rhythm. The Stoic understands that progress is not a straight line, but a summation of small steps taken with intention. Every day counts. Every action adds up, and what seems like effort today will be automatic tomorrow. Thus, the difficult becomes natural, the unfamiliar becomes familiar, and the new becomes part of your identity. It's not magic, it's the power of consistency. This principle of repetition applies not only to physical habits, such as exercise or diet, but also to the mind and spirit. Stoics repeated affirmations, reflections, reminders of virtue and self-control. They knew that the mind needs to be trained just like the body, and that the thoughts you choose to repeat become the beliefs that guide your life. Therefore, each day is an opportunity to sow the seed of discipline, patience, and wisdom. And with time, that seed grows and bears fruit that no obstacle can uproot. Ultimately, repeating until it becomes part of you is deciding who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. It's making consistency your best ally and daily practice your shield against mediocrity. When you look back after months or years of repeating the right things, you realize that you have changed, that you are no longer the same person, that you have built a stronger, freer, and more authentic version of yourself. That is the essence of Stoicism. Not seeking perfection, but constant progress day after day until virtue is as natural as breathing. You've reached this point because you know your life deserves more than excuses and empty dreams. Today it became clear, no one is coming to save you. No one will build your best self for you. The Stoics left us a roadmap for genuine transformation, a philosophy not about waiting for the perfect moment, but about taking control, working on yourself daily, and mastering your time, your mind, and your decisions. They understood that freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, but having the strength to do what you must, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one applauds, even when the path is long and progress is slow. This journey isn't easy, but it's the only one worth taking. You've learned that discipline is the true path to peace, that self-control is the foundation of freedom, and that responsibility is the first step to ceasing to be a spectator and becoming the protagonist of your story. Every small habit, every daily repetition, every time you choose action over excuse, brings you closer to that version of yourself you only imagined today. Don't seek shortcuts. Don't be deceived by magical formulas. Real change is built with intention, effort, and the humility to learn from your mistakes and those of others. Remember that life is not repeatable. Every day is an opportunity to advance, to grow, to leave mediocrity behind and embrace excellence. The Stoics taught us to live with purpose, to prepare for challenges, and not to fear discomfort, because what seems like sacrifice today will be your story of triumph tomorrow. If you take yourself seriously, if you bet on yourself, if you work more on your development than on anything else, no obstacle will stop you. Now it's your turn. Don't let this message remain just words. If you're ready to commit to your growth, write in the comments, "From today I commit to daily growth. I am Stoic." Do it to seal your decision, to remind yourself that your life is in your hands and that every day counts. And if this content inspired you, give it a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. Here we continue building character, discipline, and a community of people who don't give up. Because true change begins today. It begins with you. Are you ready to take control and live like a true Stoic? Then go for it.